And we're rolling.
Kinda creative.
No, you have to wait until I see. You
Skinny
can't
boy
just-
squeeze.
No, I'm not going to say the skinny boy squeeze.
Why?
Because,
It's
well,
iconic.
I know, but
But you don't feel skinny? You do feel skinny, so you no longer need to mention it.
that's exactly what it is. I actually feel skinny. I'm a skinny boy. And you know what? No, skinny boy squeeze. I said it.
You seem grumpy. Is it is your headache still hurting?
No, I don't have a headache. The headache's gone.
Okay.
I promise.
Cool. You just start crying.
You see the tears.
So, but we did a podcast.
I'll cry on this side so that people can't see it.
Sadly pulling up an ice pack.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm good.
So Anthony,
Lauren,
happy Candid Creatives Day.
happy Candid Creatives Day to you too.
I'm just looking, you brought these questions out. We haven't used them in a long time.
I know. I brought them out for that reason. It just in case we wanted to use one. But I didn't run this by you beforehand.
No, I like having that. It's like a security blanket if conversation stalls. You know, this is like the what do you call it when the thing comes down?
Like in a case of emergency, oxygen.
Yeah, like just knowing it's there, even if like the plane could blow up, that's not going to help you. But like you kind of know. It got dark.
It did get dark. That was good.
Okay, well we can do the questions, but I actually have a topic.
You have a topic.
Yeah, and you actually remember right before we started this, you're like, did you have anything in mind? And I said, yeah, and then we didn't talk about what I had in mind.
Yes, I do remember that.
Okay, so it's going to be another surprise. Do you like when I surprise you with topics?
I so much love when you surprise me with a topic. But first, I have a question for you.
Oh.
What?
You're surprising me with a topic.
I'm surprising you with a question.
Oh, okay.
What is your topic?
You made me gross laugh. I had to hear that. Okay, well, so it's not a fully baked because shockingly we didn't prepare for this.
Right.
But I was kind of thinking, well, okay, so we work in the same space, obviously.
Physical space.
Same physical
Yes.
space. So we're always in the same area. We're always using laptops.
Yes.
So not that we ever peep on each other's screens, but like sometimes you just see it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I noticed, I'm like, oh, he has like you have video editing software. I think it's video editing software up quite a bit because you edit the video for this. I know you're working on a couple other things. You do comic videos. And it got me thinking, like, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like I heard Labor obviously had that up because I don't know. Long story short, my topic is, I was going to say, like, what are your three most used, what are your three most used apps on your computer? Or like the most helpful, and like you can't say something like obviously Safari, like probably, but we both use Safari a lot.
Okay.
But yeah, like yeah.
What are my three most used apps?
Or like ones that you'd be like devastated if someone took them away, and you're like, well, I can't do my work. I can't.
Ooh. Okay. What are my three most used apps on my computer?
Or it doesn't have to be like you don't necessarily have to think in terms of screen time per se. You could also go with most useful. I'm going to allow you to be flexible on this, and you're welcome.
What are the three most useful apps on my computer?
Yes,
Okay.
but you can't say Safari,
I can't say Safari.
right?
Okay.
Or Chrome or whatever. You can't say a web browser.
Yuck. No, I don't.
Yuck.
I do not like
I
Chrome.
feel the same. Have you noticed that? Well, I don't know if you have it like, with apps and programs that you're using, and if you have issues, like without fail, there is like, did you try another web browser? And I'm like, I know that like I do. I have Chrome and Safari installed, and I know like a lot of like we're fairly like tech savvy. Like I get that we might have two for various reasons, but like the average person isn't going to have two browsers installed. Like my mom, if she was trying to get help with something, like she's not even know really what a browser is. She still thinks that's Google. So, and I mean, I'm like, and I know she's not like alone there.
Right.
And like, even like my sister, very tech savvy. I doubt she's, like, oh, sometimes I use Chrome, sometimes I use Safari.
Just
anyway.
It's a mood thing. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know why they do that. I mean, I understand why.
Lazy.
What's that?
It's lazy.
Yes. I do. Yes, it is lazy troubleshooting. But at least then they can identify, well, it's then a browser specific issue. It's not a platform specific issue. Like it's not Squarespace, but it is kind of Squarespace if
Right.
they're not able to support the most common browsers out there.
Yeah. And I guess this part of me, I know this is unrealistic. A part of me wishes I'm like, okay, somebody comes with your problem, especially if I've sent like a screenshot or like a video, I'm like, this isn't working. Then like you would go test that. Like don't make your customers do the QA for you.
Right. You know what I love? I love that the last podcast was so pro Squarespace, and then we're 2 minutes in, and this is one is very anti.
I am supposed Squarespace, but Squarespace fix your shit because you can't hit tab without the whole thing freezing.
Oh yeah, that's
If you're listening to
a
this.
new bug that you just discovered
Yeah.
this morning. Now, let me ask you, have you tried another browser?
Oh my God. I was about to say no, but like even that just makes my blood pressure go up because I know that's what they're going to say. And Squarespace, I think probably is a little bit more stable in Chrome. So I could just bite the bullet and do that, but I'm not going to.
I feel dirty when I use Chrome.
I do too.
I feel like I'm almost using an Android phone.
You know, sometimes, so you know how I go back, I like both Showit and Squarespace
Yes.
a lot. And sometimes I have a hard time like picking my favorite. And like, I'm pretty slutty when it comes to those because it's like whichever one I'm using, then I'm like, oh, I love you the most. But then I'm like, oh, but you're pretty great too. Anyway, I swear half the reason or half the time if I move away from Showit, it's because Showit requires Chrome.
Oh, yeah.
So I can tell you what, my favorite app or my most used app is not Chrome. It kind of is, I guess, if I'm doing a Showit website, I spend a lot of time in there, but not happily.
Oh, yeah. No, you get grumpy
I do get
when you have
grumpy.
to go all in on Chrome.
Yep.
Okay, so what are the 3 most used or most important apps on my computer? This is not necessarily in order of importance, but since you've already...
I'm excited.
Okay. Number 1 is DaVinci Resolve.
Oh, you're new guy?
Yeah, my new video editor.
Okay.
I love it so much more than Adobe Premiere Pro. And I actually would say that Adobe Premiere Pro is maybe number 2 in terms of most used, but only because I like this. There's a couple of plugins that I use for editing this podcast and other long form videos that I really like, and they're only available in Premiere Pro. But if I can get those in DaVinci, I would drop Premiere Pro faster than you drop Chrome when you're feeling slutty with Safari.
No, with Squarespace.
Oh, yeah. And then number 3 is Notes. If you'll permit me to use, I know you wouldn't let me use a web browser.
No, I know, but yeah, no, that's different to me.
Okay. All right. So Notes for sure.
So, okay, wait. So DaVinci Resolve,
Yes.
Adobe Premiere Pro, and
Yes.
Notes. I'm kind of shocked that Notion didn't make the list.
Well, because it's not the most, it used to be the most important. It used to be one of the most important. But even recently on my phone, I've downgraded it now. It used to get one of the 4 dock spots.
Oh, that's big.
I know.
That is big.
Oddly enough, that it was replaced with the Blackmagic Design camera app, which is a free app. And it's also they're the ones who also make DaVinci Resolve. It's what I use to shoot this podcast on our 2 iPhones. It's incredible. Anyway, so yeah, but Notion used to be one of the most important. It no longer is even close. I love to use it as like a joke repository. It's like a filing cabinet for my jokes.
Like a database.
Yes.
Why does a database?
Well, yeah, it is. It's like a really smart filing cabinet for jokes because it's a database. You're right. Because I can put all my jokes in there, and then I can also create all my set lists in there, and I can put those jokes onto set lists, and then I can see like, oh, how many times have I told this joke? 42. Okay, great. You know, if it's a whatever. And I like having the set list thing there because then I can also upload the video of that set or the audio recording to keep track of it. And I could do the same thing in like Finder, you know, with a file structure, but it's just sexier to have like, oh, I'll have a new set tonight. I'll put this video there. I told these jokes. Here are my notes. Here's how much money I got paid. But I'm now writing jokes so much more in Notes. So it's like once it's kind of baked, then I might dump it into Notion, but I don't know.
How difficult, I feel like maybe we've talked about this, but like how difficult would it be, obviously knowing that Notes doesn't have, obviously it doesn't have database. Anthony's fiddling with my cord. You're twirling it. Knowing that Notes doesn't have a database, like any kind of database features, like, 'cause then you would have to, like, you could still put a lot of that stuff in there.
Yes.
It just, you wouldn't be able to see it like in a grid view kind of. You would have to do like list.
Yeah, and
That was so clear. You would have to do it list.
Yes, I would have to do it list. No, I actually what I found is when I moved to Notes to digitally write jokes, I'm using more analog anyway, which we can that we can bookmark. That's another topic. But I'm finding that I don't care about all that extra information like I did before.
Oh, that's interesting. Because that's okay. that we're going to go into like Notion for a little bit.
Okay.
I think this is the same friction I come into with Notion because like I do still have Notion, and I think I may even still have a paid plan on Notion. And every now and then I do come back to it. I think there's actually been like an episode on this podcast where I'm like, oh, I'm back in Notion. It's been so great and it's so helpful. But like continually, or I guess recurringly, that it seems like I'll come back, but I just don't stick around. And it's because it's just, I don't know. I can't even describe it other than when I open up Notion, it feels like a pain in the ass. And like, and I've tried I've done like Thomas Frank. I've tried all the cool systems. So don't tell me I just need a new system. Like I've purchased them. I've set up my own.
Yeah.
It's just like, there's too much stuff there that, to like your point, like I don't need.
Yeah, and they keep pushing the whole AI thing, and it's like every cursor, whenever I click in with the cursor, and it's like, hey, do you want to use AI? Just hit the space bar. And I'm like, I don't want to do AI. Just, if I wanted to do AI for something, I would say, I'd like to do AI for something. How can you help? But it's like every time you just click in, it's like, do you want to use AI?
Are you sure?
Yeah, try it.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe we're just no longer their like target, person. Like maybe they're not apt.
They're not after the author turned designer and recruiter turned stand-up comedian.
Well, I guess they're like people like
crowd.
that just want like I want my information in an easy to. Well, that's a huge crowd. What do you mean? I just want my information to be like easy.
Yeah.
And I also want it to be like the way that I want it. And sometimes I feel I'm like, where did I put that? And it's like 50 layers down. And then you do all these like relational databases. And I get that that's the cool part of Notion. Like if you watch the Notion nerds on YouTube, like that is why they love it so much. And I do understand that in theory. And I do, again, in theory, see a lot of great use cases for it. But for most stuff that I need, I'll set it up and I'm like, this is overkill.
Right.
Like I mean, like if I know if I'm looking for the Amazon buy link for my Made in Manhattan book, like I'm just going to search. And for that, and Notion's terrible for search. It's gotten a little bit better, but it sucks. So I want to see you leave Notion.
Yeah, I mean,
boycott.
Well, I don't hate it. It's just it's too much for me. And the one thing I do like it for still is I haven't found the end of it, but it seems to be bottomless storage.
Yeah, that is.
Like I upload,
cool.
I have terabytes of videos. Well, terabytes of videos just of stand-up sets, and it hasn't stopped me yet. I think there's a per file size limitation of like 2.5 gigabytes or something like that. But then, like I've uploaded hour-long sets to Notion, and it keeps going.
So now here's a question: how often do you go back and look, like reference those videos?
Never. But what I want is, I want to keep them for posterity's sake because after my basically when I commit a heinous felony and they're doing the backstory on me, like what was
this is a when, not if, but okay.
Right.
This makes me feel secure.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Yeah, living with you and sleeping beside you. This is great.
I would not sleep right beside me. No, but when anything happens and they want to do no, I don't know why I'm keeping it, to be honest with you.
Well, could you, we're going to really into your system here. I'm just going to
get all up in there.
I have so many questions. So what could you, in theory, then, if you want, because I understand keeping things for posterity's sake. Like I still have this is ridiculous, but I still have like rich text files from my exports from when I was writing like After the Kiss, my very first book. So no, I do have them just for After the Kiss. I don't have them for Only With You. But yeah, so this is probably like 2012, 2013. I have and it's like chapter 1, I've been like multiple versions of this, and there are all these RTFs that I'm like, well, I can't get rid of it. I need them. But could you, in theory, put those, like name them with the date that you performed them?
Oh, I see. I think I see where you're going.
And dump them in a folder, like iCloud or Dropbox or whatever you're using these days.
I do that too.
Oh, redundancy. I mean, that's not necessarily a terrible thing, but...
Yeah, I don't know. See, it's not only overly, like, I really don't need Notion for anything anymore. I for like a while I had like a dashboard set up with the projects I was working on.
Yeah, I've done that too.
And and it was really sexy, and I felt so good once I got it all ready to go. But it's kind of like building your own airplane just to drive to the store and back.
Yeah,
way overly complicated. You don't need to. It took me so long to build all this stuff. And then I'm only using it to write in like a fart joke or something.
Yeah. I almost think because I do, me, I love productivity tools. I actually think I enjoyed like building stuff in Notion more than I do using it. And I think that's that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's like, what do I actually want to do? Is like, I want to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish, not build a system that in theory is going to help me do that.
Right. And I, interestingly enough, I have replaced it with a notebook, like a yellow legal pad notebook kind of thing for just the writing of the jokes. And then I use little pads of paper that fit in my pockets for like little notepads for set lists. And that's it now. And I love it so
like
much
that.
more. And I can still keep track of the set list if I just take a picture of it, or, I've got old notebooks full of set lists still, but it's so much easier.
Well, and I love, since we both are Matt D'Avella fans, I love that, not, like, his most used apps, at least like last that I've watched, are, well, first of all, he's simplified his whole thing. So he's going back to like just being a solopreneur. So he's like dropped the team thing.
Right.
He's really going back to basics. But even before he made this most recent decision, he always used Apple Notes. I think he has a notebook. And then he has like To Do, which is that To Do, like TEUX.
Yep.
That app.
I can put that in the show notes.
But then I found it funny, like, and this was a few years ago that he posted. So again, maybe this has changed. But my favorite part about it was like some of the top comments were in there was like, LOL, still in the dark, he just hasn't discovered Notion. I'm like, maybe he's like discovered Notion, but like he's creating some pretty great stuff with this basic thing. And I'm like, I feel like the people I see that are using Notion, a lot of them are just creating content about Notion. And maybe that's not, maybe there are a ton of people that are using Notion and not talking about it. But it seems like Notion is almost like in the, like the CrossFit cliche, where like you've got to talk about the thing.
Right.
It's less about the results of like you look fit, and it's more about the whatever.
Yeah.
Don't mean to pick on it, but
No. I'm all for, if it works, it works. Question for you.
yes, Anthony.
Just because we're on a roll here. But now I want to do you. What are the...
Wait, real quick. Did we set a timer?
We have not set a timer,
Look at
but
that.
there is a timer. I mean, it's not a timer. It's more of a stopwatch, but it's on our recording device down here.
I see. Okay.
So it's whatever, 18 minutes in.
Perfect.
Over here, we'll do this. Oop. Nope. Hold on. 12-minute timer. Were you staring at the camera again like you did last time?
I like you wear that watch all day,
Yeah.
every day, and yet this stopwatch functionality seems to trip you up. Oh.
Well, okay. The problem here, this is a quick aside before we get into her. But the problem is I was holding, I don't know why, I've never done this before. I held the wrong button. I held the big
I
button.
do that not for stopwatch, but I do hold the wrong button a lot, especially if I'm like frantic, like I need to like really quickly tell Siri something. I don't know why I would ever be frantic about that, but like go.
Oh my God, Siri.
Shazam this song before it's over.
Right.
And then like I've reset the whole thing, and it's gone into hard reset mode. And,
Yeah, I know. You got to set it up from scratch. So I don't know why I just didn't hit the crown like I do every other time. But anyway, that's a long story about why. I don't know. And plus, I don't know what the stopwatch even looks like or the timer. See, I have alarm. We're just doing the same thing I did yesterday. Okay.
No, I didn't look at the camera. Okay.
Okay, so let's get all up into you and your productivity world. Or not even productivity world. I don't care about that. I do. No. What are the 3 most important apps on your MacBook Pro?
Wait, can we back up 1 second?
We're going to back up 1 second.
I'm actually really curious about this as a wife.
Yeah. Oh.
And no. So the apps that you mentioned are all very video focused.
Yes.
And as I think that's what sort of started this whole thing. I'm like, oh, he does video stuff a lot. So question, do you like it?
Yeah.
Because it seems like, and I know this isn't like really true, and it's tricky because a lot of your like work time takes place in the evening, like at shows.
Right.
But it almost seems like during the day, you spend more time doing the videos than you do like the videos for the comedy stuff. Do you like that fact? Than you do the actual like working a comedy?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I enjoy learning it because it's a relatively new skill. And it's something I can offload or hire out, but it still seems like it would cost a little bit more than it's worth for me right now. So yeah.
Well, and it does seem like it's such a valuable skill with video having like this huge boom right now. Like obviously with TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Reels on Instagram, like all these things. Like it seems like, yeah, you could probably like outsource it, but if anything, like I think you're right to learn it because you could probably, if you ever wanted to, be like, hey guys, pay me a lot of money and I could do this for you.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's complicated.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like it's like I'll still tape other people's sets and stuff and edit those and send them out, and yeah. Anyway, it's just I enjoy the skill. It's kind of fun.
All right. Just curious about that.
But no, yeah. Technically, for my job, I don't even need a computer. I could get by with just a pencil and a paper. I don't like using pencils, but so like a pen and paper.
True, but I mean, realistically, you can't write all day. I mean, I know that sounds great, but
Yeah, true.
like even if I'm on deadline in a role and I have like the best of intentions, like there comes a point if I start my day at 5:30 writing, like I pretty much always am going to get to that like 2-3 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I've got nothing. And that's when you,
So that's almost exactly what my experience is like, except when I sit down is when I say, "Oh, I've got nothing."
oh, that's fun.
It is fun.
That must feel good.
It feels great.
Well, maybe you need to change. We're going to coach you here. What if you took your notebook and your pen and you left so you couldn't be near your computer?
What are you, am I like a toddler or something?
What do you think about that
I
idea?
think it's a great idea. No, yeah, that's a great idea. It really is. I think I said on this podcast I was going to go like computerless or something.
You did actually, didn't you? For almost a half day. I'm not
Yeah.
judging.
No.
I wouldn't do that. I love my computer.
Yeah, I actually have been doing that more than I did before. I still have a long way to go, but I can. Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Do you want to do you now?
Yeah, now I'm ready. I
Okay.
think I'm done with all of that follow-up questions and tangents for now.
I mean, I don't mind.
Once we're off the air, though,
I don't mind.
watch out.
Wait, is this a veiled threat? Is it me who has to be worried about?
I have like a scroll of questions. So at this timestamp, you said this. Explain.
What are the 3 most important apps on your computer?
Well, So, and I think yours would probably be this, that I think this is the same for you in that it probably rotates a little bit depending what I'm working on. Mm-hmm. So like for you right now, it's video editing because you have a bunch of projects related to that. Mm-hmm. So for me, it depends which hat I'm wearing. So if I'm wearing my writer's hat, Ulysses is open on my screen, or Pages. I've been flirting with Pages a lot instead of Ulysses.
Even for like, well, we'll ask that later, but go
Yeah.
ahead.
So if I have a deadline, then it's our pumpkin.
Yeah, it's a makeshift.
I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. Okay. So if I'm writing, it's Ulysses or Pages.
Yes.
Like something to write in. But now that I've turned in a book and I don't have any more scheduled, then I don't even touch it. Like, so that's kind of one where it's like, depending what I need, that could be the only app I use all day long, or I go months and it just gets dusty and it's not updated. So that's kind of a caveat. So I'll say right now, Milanote.
Oh,
Milanote
yes.
is one that even no matter what I'm working on, whether it's novels or design stuff, or even just like life stuff, like organizing, like if we have like some sort of like home project that we're doing, I use that definitely.
okay.
And I used to mostly just use that primarily for writing because it's really great for like storyboarding and outlining. For those that don't know, Milanote is kind of like a Notion or a Apple Notes in that you can take like notes in it and organize stuff, but you can put like drag things around. So there's no list, there's no structure. It's like a whiteboard essentially.
Yeah. It's like kind of like a corkboardy
Yeah,
whiteboard. You
exactly.
can put something on it and then move that note around.
Yep. And so I used to think, okay, because it's like, I think they call it like note taking for creatives. Like it's for people that don't necessarily think
Linearly?
Well, yes, thank you. Yikes, that was terrible. But you like, especially if you're writing, like I don't necessarily know what order I'm going to put things in. Or like I'll have like an idea for a scene, and if I'm using something like Notion or Notes, I either like have to create a new note for it and it gets lost, or it goes into the current one, but it's again everything's still ordered. Whereas this, you can just like splay everything as like a splatter and then start dragging around. Anyway, so I used to think that I could only use Milanote for stuff like that, like the crazy creative, the brainstorming thing. But I'm actually like, as the more I use it, the more I'm like, oh, you actually can get quite a bit of structure in there. You can't do like relational databases like Notion, not even close. But increasingly, I'm like everything's been going in there. So Milanote definitely. I know I said I couldn't say Safari. So I'm gonna have to cheat here because like if I'm being really like Squarespace itself, like if we treat Squarespace as an app.
Oh, okay. Well, with Safari, you can do that. You can create.
I know, and actually I have been, and I really like that. Yeah, so I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna say Squarespace, and then I do use Illustrator a lot, but I think it's between Illustrator and To Do. And the reason it used to be To Do or Things for sure. Both of those are like task manager apps. And the reason that I'm not listing those is, again, this is just in the past couple of weeks. This is a huge change because those used to be like the bread and butter of my day. I'm using my Milanote for a lot of my
Oh, really?
my to-do list again. Yeah, because it's just there's something that's so easy because everything's those like just sexy little like check boxes.
Yeah.
And then I also like that it's really easy to like do different like categories. So I can basically create a board. This is gonna be hard. I'm gonna try.
Okay.
You can create a board and then you can create different columns. And so it can basically be like categories of to do. So I'll have like, and I can see it all like as a list. So like home to dos, like we need to take that TV down to storage. Like don't forget to, order more laundry detergent.
Right.
That can be in like this one column. And it's basically a column view.
This is To Do you're talking about.
No, sorry. This is
Milanote.
Milanote.
Okay. Is
Yeah,
it Milanote or Milanote?
I think everybody says Milanote.
Okay.
And then,
That sounds right.
but it's supposed to be a portmanteau of Milan and note. So, but I just find that so uncomfortable. I used to say Milano, and finally I'm like, I don't think that's right. And I actually emailed them and asked, and that's when I learned that they're like, oh, it's Mil, like soft I, because it's Milan and note.
Milan note. Okay.
But that's hard to say. So I
Yeah.
at least dropped the me, and I feel like that's a step in the right direction, Milanote instead of Milanote. But
Well, unless you're in Milan, in which case they would say
true. Oh yeah, I could just pretend I'm Italian.
Yeah.
I'll do that. I'll go back to
Which
Milano.
I ask you to pretend you're Italian all the time.
You do.
Like, hey, if anybody
and you know
asks,
what? I do my best because I eat a lot of pasta. I like the basil. I like the pesto. I like your food.
Okay, so
I know it's a convoluted answer. Okay, so Milanote,
yes,
Squarespace.
yes. Well, didn't you say Ulysses or Pages?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
But I see. But now you're doing it based on whether or
Right.
not
I
you're...
mean, it felt weird to say that because like the second I'm done with the first draft and revisions, like I said, that gets dormant because once I switch to edits and I have to do stupid Microsoft Word. But it feels.
Ugh.
I would say looking at a year, if I'm looking at an entire year, Ulysses or Pages.
Okay, all right. Oh yeah. So here's the pumpkin. You said you were using Pages. Now, you said Ulysses or Pages. And then you said, "Oh, I'm using Pages more often." That's my impression of you. Are
Sounds
you
just like me.
I know viewers or listeners at home will not be able to figure out. Was that
her?
Yeah,
was that
she?
an echo?
Who's talking now? Are you? Now I forgot. Oh yeah, Pages. Are you actually generating new content, like new words in Pages, or is
Yeah.
that so? You're starting, really?
Yes. Well, what's happened? Okay, so Miranda Retrograde is the most recent book, and this actually has a couple different. Because I started and restarted this book so many times that like each draft had a different journey. But on two of those journeys, I started in Ulysses because that's sort of my default. And then I found myself, I don't know what happened. I don't know if I just needed like a change of scenery in the same way, like sometimes if you're trying to do something, you're like, you need to like go to a different room or go to a different,
Yeah.
like it's like I needed a different view. And so I would switch over there. But there's actually been a couple books, like The Trouble with Love. This was going way back. I'd already started I'd written all my books in Ulysses up to this point, and I just had this feeling of like, I want to write this one in Pages. There's something like in Ulysses is very clean as well, but there's something about Pages because it's Apple design. So it's just beautiful and simple. Oh, Bailey doesn't approve. It's just pretty and simple. And also, I have figured out, and I think I was chattering to you about this, I have learned how to use the table of contents functionality in Pages to basically create. I don't use the table of contents in like chapter 1, chapter 2, like that. That's pretty obvious. You can always do that. But I'll use it to create like my scene headings, like my notes to myself. Like this is the meet cute. And then on the left-hand side where the table of contents is, it'll actually say meet cute.
Oh, I see. Oh,
And so
cool.
then and then if I'm like down there, I'm like, okay, I'm writing a scene at like New Year's Eve. I need to go back and change like that garden scene. Then I can just go left and click garden, and it takes me back to that place in the manuscript. And the entire reason that I haven't used Pages in general up until then is because once you get to 60,000 words or hundreds of pages, it's hard to find where you are. You have to go scrolling, or you have to know what you're searching for. Whereas something like Ulysses, you can just click, oh, I want to go back to the fight scene, and you click fight and it takes you there. And I've found a way to kind of break that up in
Okay.
in Pages.
Very cool.
Yeah. I actually did a little video on it while you were, where were you last? Chicago.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I was just so excited about it. I'm like, you know what? Someone somewhere is going to want to know how to do this. Maybe.
Where is that? Where does that video live?
I haven't posted it yet, so maybe you can help me find a place. Maybe I'll put it on Last Word. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Since we have that up now.
Does Last Word have a YouTube channel? Or where?
No, but I'm going to have you. I was actually thinking, that's funny you bring that up. And now you have witnesses. When I was in the shower and I was thinking, oh, I wish I had my To-Do app because I was going to ask you if you could help me set up a channel for Last Word.
Yeah.
We're discussing our To-Dos here, guys.
This is actually just a work meeting that you're listening in on. Okay. Well, should we end it there since we're about at 30? We're over.
And also Bailey seems like she needs to do some business.
You got to go take a dub.
So.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for watching. If you know what, subscribe if you want, or don't. Just keep watching and keep listening. We appreciate it.
We do.
If you have questions, feel free to hit us up in the comments on YouTube or email us at podcast@anthonyledon.com. I think that's about it.
Yeah.
That's really it. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. All right. Bye.
Bye.